Hey guys, it's Joseph with My Digital Marketing Journey. So this is another video in a series where I put a post inside the Ty Lopez social media marketing Facebook group. It's a private group. And I just asked people, what do you want to learn? And so one of the things that came up is multiple people said they want help learning how to pick a niche and to research a niche. So in this video, I'm going to go over exactly what a niche is, why they're so important, and how to pick the right niche for you. All right, so let's get right into it. I don't have any fancy intro yet, you can probably tell. But so let's start off, like, what is a niche? Why is this thing even important? And there's other people who have covered this from different angles. A lot of them are talking about niche websites though. So when we're talking about social media marketing or digital marketing in general, what a niche is when you take this huge world of working with business owners in promoting their business online. That's the big thing, right? And then when you start to take it down to a very small portion of that, then that's when you're starting to create a niche. It's this small part within that huge universe of digital advertising that you're going to choose to focus on, become a master at, and be able to deliver value on. So an example of the niche would be that you do local SEO for contractors, something like that. You're not trying to do plastic surgeons, you're not trying to do restaurants, you're not trying to do lawyers. You do contractors and you provide the specific service, local SEO, or social media marketing, or whatever it is that you want to do. But instead of doing everything, you try to just do a small part. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do this. Now, you don't have to niche. But if you don't niche, you're going to make it a lot harder on yourself. I'll give you a couple examples of this. So like for instance, I love working with contractors. I feel like I understand them. I feel like I get where they're coming from, what they need for their business. And then there's certain things that contractors, meaning people who do like construction on houses and roofing and painting and remodeling and things like that. These people, there's certain websites that tailor directly to them. So there's things like HOTH, there's things like Home Advisor, there's things like Angie's List that are very good places for them to be represented. But if someone had like an Italian restaurant, they don't necessarily need to be on those things. In fact, it wouldn't make any sense for them to be on those. But if I work with more and more contractors and I start to see the specific services that benefit them the most, and I learn how to provide those services very effectively, very efficiently, and providing a ton of value because I understand them inside and out, then I'm going to be able to work with a lot of clients quickly and to be able to justify a very high pay rate for doing that work. Whereas if I do restaurants and attorneys and retail stores and contractors and daycares, and I do all of that, then it's too much to learn. The market for someone who runs a daycare, it can be very lucrative. I mean, parents pay a lot of money to have their kids in daycare. So if you could get them more families with more children coming in, you could make them a lot of money and you could charge a lot for that. But if you're trying to learn how to do that, and you're also trying to work with attorneys who are like, say, a business attorney, those are two completely different markets, two completely different customer sets. And to learn how to do everything over here and everything over here, you're slowing yourself down and you're not going to be really amazing at either one of those things. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important. And this is talked about in the course, but they don't go super deep into what this is. So how do you pick a niche? Let's get into that next. I think there's a few different things you want to think about when you pick a niche. Part of it is going to be, what are you into? Like, just what are you interested in? So at the start, I was thinking I was going to do this thing called InstaBiz Local. That was going to be the company name. I built out a website for it, and I was going to focus on doing Instagram marketing for small local businesses in my town. What I quickly realized is I hate Instagram. I don't like being on it. I don't really like looking at it. I think it's a pain in the butt to manage. It's harder to do automation software with it. I know there's programs you can do it, but it's not as easy as like Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that. And I don't really like it. It's not fun for me. And so for me to have a niche where I'm doing Instagram marketing for these small local businesses, that doesn't make any sense. And I found that out. So I wasted time building a website and stuff like that. But was it really a waste of time? I mean, I learned a lot in the process, including that I don't really want to do Instagram. So cool. I learned it. That's awesome. Plus, I actually learned enough so that I can do it for companies if I needed to. So that's not bad. But that would have been an example of a niche. For me, it didn't work out, but I tried it. All right, but you need to find something that you like a lot. Maybe you grew up and your dad or your folks or your friends were in the construction industry, and you were around construction guys a lot, and you like those guys, you like the way they talk, you like hanging out with them, and you're like, oh yeah, this is something I feel like I understand and I could provide a lot of value in. That might be a good niche for you. Some people are really into appearance and how people look and fitness and things like that. And for them, maybe something like a plastic surgeon, or maybe something like doing hair salons or fitness centers or things like that would make sense. So if you dig into what you love, or even if it's not something that you like totally love and have a passion for, something that you like enough that you wouldn't mind putting in the time to go really deep into learning about it. If you pick something like that, that's probably going to be a good source of customers for you, and that could probably be a pretty good niche for you. What you don't want to do is pick something that you don't really like, you're not that interested in, but you heard you could make a lot of money doing it. Like there's all of these people who are probably calling on lawyers and stuff like that because they heard lawyers have a lot of money. But if you're like a really young person who doesn't know anything about law, has never hung out with attorneys, can't even really understand things like legalese, the language of law and things like that, and you can't really get into that mindset or understand what their customers are looking for, then who cares if lawyers make enough money to pay you? You're not going to love working with them, and it's probably actually going to be a pain in the butt for you to do it, and that's going to feel like a lot of work. And it's much easier if it's something that you're like, oh, I just love doing this. I can get really jazzed about it. So that's one of the ways that I think about it. Now, there's other stuff where, like I said, you don't have to have a ton of experience. You just need to be willing to dig in deep. You need to pick a niche where they actually see value in what you do. So if I was going to like try to niche in like mining companies, meaning like the people who go and dig up coal and metal and stuff like that from the earth, that's a weird niche. Those people don't care about social media, they don't need social media, and they don't think about social media. So they're not going to see the value in what I do. And I know that's kind of an extreme example, but there's a lot of businesses that just don't value what you do, and so why would you go to them? That wouldn't make any sense for you, and you could waste a lot of time and money with that. Not a lot of money necessarily, but a lot of time, and you won't be earning money because you're not finding people who can do it. You need to make sure there's enough companies in your niche. So if you're going to do something like, I don't know, frozen yogurt parlors, like you're going to be, I'm really good at getting more customers for like froyo places or something like that. It's a weird example, but those places can really rock it on social media. You need to make sure there's actually enough around that you can get enough business, or that you're willing to work in national territory so that you can pull them in from all across the country and things like that. If you have something where it's going to be really hard to work multiple businesses because you're essentially playing competitors against each other, or if there's just not enough of these people in your area, like where I am right now, immigration attorneys would be a horrible niche because I live out in the boonies in northern Illinois. And this is not a place where we're thinking about immigration a lot. If I was more like towards Chicago, that would be awesome. But I'm not there. And I don't really want to market there, and I don't want to visit clients there. So think about that. They have to be able to afford you. So I told you not to pick a niche just because they can afford you, but if they can't afford you as in general in your niche, then that's not going to be a good niche for you, because you'll only be able to charge a little bit of money and they're not going to want to pay very much. Now, I believe in charging honest rates for what you do. People who are charging $5,000 to do essentially nothing for a company, I think that's theft. I think that's a horrible, immoral thing to do to companies. Just because they will pay you doesn't mean it's okay for you to charge that. And I believe that very deeply. But that said, the companies you pick do need to be able to afford you. Like we have a lot of farms around where I am, and we have a lot of farm stands, and we have farmers markets and things like that. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go down the list of places that have a booth at the farmers market, and I'll just call them all, and I'll see if I can get some customers that way. I didn't get a single customer that way. And of course I didn't get one that way, because none of those places can afford me. Because none of them are making enough money to be able to pay for this service. I actually could help them out a lot. I could build them a following and I could build their brand, but they can't afford it. They're not making enough margins. So make sure someone makes enough money. And it's not always the couple industries that you hear about, like chiropractors and cosmetic surgeons and lawyers. I mean, there's a lot of other people who make a lot of money. You just need to find them and just do your research on them. So I'm going to get into something a little bit different now, which is creating a sub niche. And stick around for this, because this is very valuable. And there's someone, Miles Beckler, not Miles Becker, Miles Beckler, Beckler. He does a lot of videos on this that are very good. And what he talks about is, he says, when you're picking a sub niche, if you really want to get very hyper targeted traffic, then what you do is you find different things and you find a place they intersect. So an example he likes to use is, say that you are marketing dog food, like a dog food company. So that'd be one piece of the pie. But then you'd think, okay, well, what within that is a subcategory? So maybe you're really into veganism as well. So you could do vegan dog food. And where those two intersect, there's this little part where there's customers that want that vegan dog food. It's not all vegans. It's not all people who want dog food. But it's that little tiny bit in the middle. And it's a smaller niche. So it's a tighter market. But if you get really good at marketing something like that, there's much less competition. Because most people are looking for bigger things, and they're not going to really get down into having a specialty. Now, as a social media marketer, you're probably not going to do vegan dog food, but it's just an example. What you might think about, though, is maybe you're really good at working with dentists who do a specific thing, like cosmetic dentistry, or maybe who do like certain kind of implants. Like you just know people how to get customers for dentists that do dental implants, and you just can rock that and you're awesome at it. Or plastic surgeons that do facelifts. Maybe they don't do all the other stuff, but they do that. And you know just exactly what those people want, or teeth whitening or something like that. But you're getting into this smaller piece of a pie. And if you can really rock that, then that's a cool place to be. Like for instance, I was watching this one YouTube ad, and I think it was a Sam Owens ad. But he had these two guys, and one of them was like the MBA business college guy, and he's like, well, I find synergistic alternatives doing complex data calculations, and he started using all these big words. And then they had the other guy who's standing next to him just like in a frumpy flannel or something like that, and he's like, I'm just really good at getting coffee stores new customers, so that's what I do. I'm just good at it. And those are the contrasting examples. So one guy's got all these ideas, and another guy's like, yeah, I can get cafes new customers. And that's the guy who's actually going to make a lot of money. The guy who's everywhere is not going to be the guy who makes a lot of money. All right, so when we talk about sub-niches, when we think about social media marketing, well, you could do something like this. Like, for instance, I like working with contractors, people who do construction contracting. That's a very big thing, though, because there's people who built like the Sears building and these major corporate buildings, and then there's contractors who build townhomes. And there's contractors who don't know how to do either of those, but they're really good at painting your house. Okay? So there's all these different types of contractors. So you could think, well, I'm going to niche in contractors. Or maybe you could do residential contractors, which means they don't do commercial stuff. We're not doing schools and office buildings. We're just doing homes. And then you could think, maybe I do residential roofing contractors. So all I'm doing is residential roofing contractors, and that's my niche. I really know how to get customers, new leads, high-paying clients for people who do roofing on people's homes. It's a tiny piece of the pie, but I can get really good at it. And then I could build a whole company just around doing that. There's one guy in the group, I think his name is Jay Aquino or something like that, and he really likes doing food trucks, and he has like food truck marketing, I think is his company, and I think he does other restaurants and stuff like that. But that's his thing, that's his niche, and I'm sure he's very good at it, and he's known for it, and his website is all about that, and that's his marketing, it's all around that. So awesome, that's a really cool thing to niche down in. It's not my thing, but it might be yours. Now, one of the other things is when you get a niche is that you can start to develop packages. And what I mean by that is you could say, all right, the essential package for someone who does residential roofing, a contractor who does residential roofing, well, they need to be on Houzz and Home Advisor and Angie's List and on Thumbtack and maybe even on Nextdoor if you're hip to that. And so I have a package where I get on all of those. I build their Facebook page. I'm not doing Twitter because who cares about a residential roofer being on Twitter? But I'm going to build all of these like 4 or 5 relevant social media and listing sites for them. And then I know exactly what kind of ads get roofers clients. So maybe it's something that whenever there's a big hailstorm or there's a big windstorm, I know I run this ad and I know who to target it to, and I can develop business really fast for these companies. And it could be something like that where you just really get into that niche, and then you develop this package and you're like, this is my essentials package. You can charge a premium price for it, but because you do it a lot, you create that package over and over and over again for different companies in the same niche. But you can do it really quickly and you can get a high payoff. And at that point you could be making couple $100 an hour if you can do that really well and really fast. And plus then when you talk to them, you're going to speak their lingo. And you're going to be able to work with them very effectively, and they're going to trust you. Because you can say, hey, I just worked with this company and this company and this company, and I increased their leads by 60% over 30 days. Something like that. And you can even develop products. Like if you got really good at developing leads for residential roofing contractors, well, then you might be able to create an ebook about it, or a video course, or some kind of other digital product that you could sell to people. Or you might be able to create a course where you teach other people to do that kind of marketing, and they would come to you and they'd buy from you because you become a recognized expert in that field. That's a lot easier than learning how to do restaurants and roofers and cosmetic surgeons and eyeglass places. You know what I mean? All right, now someone else wanted to know how to research a niche. I'm going to cover that in another video because I think this has already gone over a lot of material. But just go back over this again and remember what I said. What a niche is all about is finding something you either love and could spend all your time learning about, or something that you at least care enough to do the research on. Find something with that, learn the language, learn what these people need, and learn how to target them specifically. And even when you're doing things like making your company name could be like roofers social media. I don't know. I'd have to play with it a little bit, but you could like find something where you're like happy contractor marketing or something like that. Happy roofer marketing or something, like rocket roofer marketing. You could come up with something. Those are all kind of stupid, but you could come up with something that fits right into that and focus everything you do on that, develop that package, and make a lot of money by becoming excellent at a single thing. So that's what I got to say about niching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll make more videos. I'll answer those questions. And to the people who asked me to talk about this, thank you so much. I hope this delivers a lot of value for you.